fun to be that old.
You want to know the real kicker?
What's that?
Your body did grow and change, but just because the sun went down and it came up again, which it doesn't actually do because it goes around a spheroid
Yeah,
Earth, it's always
yeah,
the exact same day.
yeah.
So you're still
Somewhere.
you're just one day old
Yeah,
because nothing else happened. Just the sun went around. We call it a day, but there was no day. It's the same day
yeah.
in time. So you're actually not 73. You're just you.
A day.
Yeah, you're one. Happy birthday.
Ah.
Well,
And
when
I just
when
never grew. I just never grew up, you know. Because if you grow up, you cease to learn new things, and you cease to have fun. So I
it's
didn't
true.
grow up. I stayed young.
I didn't either. You know, when we were kids, we lived in this magical house where there was circles outside to do smudge ceremonies in. There were ghosts, there were orbs flying around, there were people speaking between the two of us in the kitchen. There was a old
Uh,
lady who burned herself up in the house, you know, before we ever existed there, and we had a life of magic with you, and most of that came from stories. And several of the ones that I can remember, you know, obviously Finocchio Key, as we did in the last podcast. You got
yeah.
the bully goats gruff instead of the billy goats. You have
Yep.
Goldilocks, and you have the frog who blew up.
Yep.
Um, you got the birds, how they learn to sing.
Yep.
You got
And
the
how Jean's deer.
yeah, and
Uh,
the three little thrigs.
the other little figs.
But
I can't tell that one like that anymore. I get laughing and choking on my own words.
I know. Well, I was hoping maybe you could tell one.
Archie Campbell did an excellent job, and he's on YouTube. He
Archie.
does the P. Little Thrigs and Pendercella,
Yeah.
who slopped her dripper at the Bancy Fall.
I remember. I think you wrote that out one time on a piece of paper, and I read it at
Yeah.
the old house. It was hilarious.
But that old house I lived in up there was a place like that. It was a place of magic because there was young kids coming in there with open minds and not closed and sealed, you know, and they were willing to look around and experience things, and y'all experienced things that I didn't, and y'all met the lady and heard the lady,
Yeah.
and that scared me because I looked at you and you looked at me. You said she's mad at you, and I said then you heard it.
You know, fun fact about that. I had a friend come over one time after you had moved out, and they walked in the front door and they said, "I can't be in here because of fire." And I was like, "Holy cow!"
Yeah, really.
Like right away, this person too. It was weird.
Yeah, that was the house was out there where my little shed was.
Yeah.
That's where the house was built out there because I found the piers and everything and all the old stones and everything that were used for piers for the foundation.
Yep, and that's where you
And
built your circle.
doorknobs and I found a medal from the Spanish American War and everything.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You found that? I thought that's in my coin collection that you gave me.
Is it?
Yeah, it's an old, almost black now coin.
Yeah, and it says Spanish American War, War with Mexico, or Mexican service.
Was that 1842?
I can't remember the date on it.
Yeah,
but I found that out there. So
that's in my possession.
Whoever lived there at that point was probably the U.S. Expeditionary Forces, and went with Black Jack Pershing after Pancho Villa.
Man, could you imagine? He's gone at war, and she's at home nursing their new child, and all of a sudden there's a fire because lightning struck the house, and she burned up. And when he arrived, he dropped down on his knees and put his coin in the dirt and said, "I can't do this anymore."
Yeah.
And that's how you found it? No, that's what's amazing about life, though.
And the flower trail that led out to the pavement, and behind the house there was a trail of daffodils that went out there on two lines of them.
Wow.
And I dug them up and replanted them somewhere else, but that's where the old walkway was.
You remember when I helped you build the stone fences, the stone walls out there?
Yeah, yeah.
Man, we put a lot of labor into that house, you especially. But into
well, there was a lot of all those stones. A lot of them came from that foundation.
I remember picking pine cones.
Oh God, yeah, nickel apiece.
And remember your strawberries that used to grow out by the turnaround?
Fence, yeah, the wild strawberries. Yeah, those were a treat if you could beat the birds to them.
Yeah, you used to always tell me, take a look at these, Destin. If they're facing up, they're snakeberries.
And they're poison, yeah.
Yep.
And if they're hanging down, they're strawberries.
Right. I taught that trick to Jen too.
Really?
Yeah. I remember a lot of
Well,
stuff
even
we
if you
talked
go
about.
if you go out in the strawberry field, you'll find the same thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of blackberries hang down when they get really ripe. They'll hang in a downward
Oh my
position.
God, they're so good too. When they
I
get
made a
really
blackberry
big.
cobbler the other night.
Did you really?
I got blackberries blooming on my front porch now. This February, what, 20 something?
23rd?
Yeah, and I got blackberries blooming around the front porch and out along the fence line and everything.
Forgive me, it's the 22nd.
Okay, the 22nd.
Yeah.
Of February. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be ice cold and snow.
Yeah, I know, and it's what, 68 degrees right now here?
Yeah. Well, down here it was 70 today or 71, something like that.
Nice.
Well, also you're going to have remember March is when we always had our biggest snows. We had 8 inches one year in March.
Yeah, we have this like deception winter, and then we have false spring #1, and then we have the real winter.
Oh yeah.
And then we get false spring #2, and then rainstorm, and then finally we get spring.
Sometimes it goes straight to summer.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't get no spring. It's cold and snowy one weekend, and the next weekend it's so damn hot you have to wear shorts and flip-flops.
Yep.
Okay. Well, what story are we going to tell tonight?
Well, I don't know. Why don't you just grab one from your bag of memories?
I like Goldilocks the Vandal.
Well, let's hear that one because most viewers have certainly heard Goldilocks, but this one's not quite the same.
Well, a lot of them haven't. That's the reason I told it in elementary school. A lot of kids never hear the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Well, I guess that makes sense, but, you know, in Europe they have a similar story, Masha and the bear.
Yeah. Well, you know, Goldilocks, the traditional thing says she was, you know, just walking and found the bears, and the bears had went for a walk because her porridge was sitting on the table, and she just went in and messed around and messed up some things, and when the bears found her, it scared her, you know, and she jumped out the window and run away. And
Yeah.
But the truth of it was told to my grandpa. My great-grandpa passed it down to my grandpa, and he told me. The truth of it is that that's not the way it went at all.
How'd it go?
Well, Goldilocks was on her way to the store in her buggy,
Yeah.
and the wheel broke, and she didn't know how to ride a horse because she was too uppity.
Oh, man.
And she said, well, I got to go up here in this house over here and see if they've got a telephone. I know they've got a telephone. That's the newest thing in the world, and I'm sure that house has got one. So she went in the house, and of course there was nobody there because the bears was trying to eat their porridge, and Papa Bear's was too hot and Mama Bear's was too cold, but Baby Bear said his was just right. But they said, well, let's go for a walk and let the porridge cool off a little bit, and we'll make it up when we get back. So they went for a walk in the woods, as bears like to do.
Definitely.
And so Goldilocks come up and knocked on the door, and they were like, hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hello? And she knocked on the door, and the door eased open. So she said, well, okay. So she tippy-toed inside and looked around, and oh, how quaint and peasant looking this is. She didn't say pleasant. She said peasant.
Peasant.
So she looked around, must be some ordinary people live here. And she looked around at everything, and she didn't see a telephone, so she started moving things on the table and knocking things over because she was kind of clumsy. And she broke the lamp on the floor, looking for the telephone. She said, there's got to be something around here. There just can't be. And she went into the kitchen, and she started tasting Baby Bear's soup, and she said, oh, this needs salt. So she put salt in it, and it got too salty.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
She salted the porridge.
She tried one that. And then she tasted Mama Bear and said, oh, this is just too absolutely cold. So she put it on the stove to heat it up and burned it. And it almost caught the house on fire. And Papa Bear, she just poured it in the sink because she just, it can't be any good either. Yeah. The other two wasn't, so this one must not be any good. And she went in there and she was looking, she said, I can't see in this cabinet. So she got Baby Bear's chair, his little rocking chair, and pulled it over. And, because she couldn't move Papa Bear's big recliner, so she got Baby Bear's little rocking chair, and she stood up on it trying to look in the top of the cabinet for a phone, and broke it. She said, cheap furniture, when will they ever learn? Cheap furniture. And so she went upstairs, and by this time she was getting kind of tired. I'll never get to the store, and I'll never get to go shopping today and my wheel on my wagon fixed. As my grandfather used to say, tough. You should have carried a spare.
Definitely.
But But she went up the stairs and found the bedrooms, and she was checking the beds out, and of course Papa Bear's was too soft, and Mama Bear's was too hard. She was pulling the covers back trying to find out why. Look at the mattress and the box springs and everything, and she said, cheap furniture, just cheap furniture. And she happened to sit down on Baby Bear's bed in his room. She says, oh my, this is perfect. So she laid down on it. And of course she went to sleep because she left the house, she was stoned. And, well, you know, she should have been smoking pot, you know, because that'll get you in trouble anyway. So there she was, and she was tired, and she was coming down, so she decided she would just take a rest. So she was laying on the bed, she went to sleep. Well, the three bears come in, and the first thing Papa Bear noticed is somebody's been here. Look at this mess. Somebody's broke the lamp, pushed stuff around, and Baby Bear said, they broke my chair. Oh, gosh, my chair's broke. And he started crying, and Papa Bear went into the kitchen, and he said, Mama, come here. And, of course, the sink was a mess, and she looked at the soup and everything, and she tasted Baby Bear's soup and said, oh, my God, somebody just filled this up with salt. And he said, we got to find out about this. So he went poking around downstairs, and every room was ransacked. And just things broke and put out of place and thrown on the floor and scattered. And he went upstairs in their room, and the drawers were open and the clothes pulled out. And he said, what in the world's been going on here? And he just happened to look in Baby Bear's room because he was peeking in the door, and his eyes was great big. And he looked, and there she was. And he walked in, and you know, bears has got a good nose. So he walked over to the door, and he stuck his nose in and sniffed. Hey, girl's been smoking pot. Mama Bear, he said, you get in a buggy and go to the town and get the three pigs and get them out here to arrest this girl. And that's why policemen are called pigs today.
That's why?
Yeah.
That's the very reason.
Three little pigs were cops. You know, they were used to dealing with big bad wolves and vandals and stuff.
Definitely.
So they came in and busted Goldilocks for vandalism and possession of a narcotic and paraphernalia. You know, so she had to do some jail time.
Oh my God.
So if you're ever on the road and you're out of gas and you go up to a house and you knock on the door and the door swings open and there's nobody home, go back and get in your car.
Yeah, and don't put salt in porridge ever.
No, don't even go in the house.
Yeah.
Because if you go in, you can get arrested for vandalism if there's anything broke. So don't even go in the house. Just go back to your car, plug your cell phone into the battery connector and charge it up if it's not charged. But you can walk around and find a signal somewhere. You can walk up on a hill or something. But yeah, don't go in somebody's house if they're not there, because that's a no-no. You get in trouble. Even if it's not your fault, you get in trouble.
Well, yeah, you get shot too.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you know, because people like me pack a gun.
I know that.
And got a carry permit, you know, and come home and find somebody in the house to shoot and ask questions later.
Ever since I can remember, you had that one, and it had a name. And
Uncle Dan.
Uncle Dan. Dang it. I was trying to remember. That was it. Uncle Dan.
It was a Dan Wesson 357 Magnum. Made similar to a Smith & Wesson, but this one you could change the barrel out on it in less than 2 minutes. So you could pop somebody with it and change the barrel, and ballistics wouldn't match with a bullet that you just fired.
Yeah. I totally get
it. It came with a 2-inch, a 6-inch, and an 8-inch barrel, and you could order a 15-inch barrel for it. And a stock that would screw off and on with one Allen bolt, so you could actually put a rifle stock on it and turn it into a 357 6-shot pistol gun. Rifle, yeah, with a 15-inch barrel.
You know, I totally understand owning a gun for protection. I really do. It's just I wish we didn't need them. I don't like them a whole lot.
You know, when I was growing up, we didn't need them.
Yeah.
But and we lived out here in the woods in Bellevue, you know, in Beulah, and we didn't need them. But now, shoot, man, I keep one. I got one right here on the end table next to me.
Yeah.
That little 380, you know, I mean, made in Argentina.
Well, it's just you guys.
Spanish.
I mean, you need.
Yeah, so if they come to the door, hey man, open the door. I say, hey, let this talk to you. And the little thing is made in Argentina. They'll understand what it says.
Anyway, you know, back to Goldilocks.
Yeah.
When I hear your stories, I still remember being on a pallet you made for us, and rolled it up all nice and comfy, and we had these pillowcases that had these raisins on it that would dance.
Raisins, yeah, from Grapevine.
Yeah. And
heard it through the grapevine.
yeah, heard it through the grapevine.
The dancing raisins.
Yeah. And then you had this My Buddy doll who would always look through the crack in the door.
Yeah.
And he would.
You know that My Buddy doll right now, if you could find one of them, they're worth a lot of money because that's where Chucky come from.
Yeah, well, I tell you what. Every single one
Y'all
of
wouldn't
those.
sleep upstairs.
No, every single one of those is actually possessed. One time, I
They
swear
must
to you.
be because none of y'all would sleep upstairs at all.
Listen.
And I thought I couldn't understand it. You know, to me it was just a big doll.
Clyde
And it was made for boys, which was a trip.
Clyde and Candy, your ghosts at your house, were messing with
Yeah.
us because one time I was asleep and I was staring at the closet door, and I had my head on the side where I could see into the closet. And the closet opened about a foot, and then the My Buddy doll fell over and looked right through the gap. And I was like, no!
Well, your mom and dad spent the night up there one night, and they kept hearing something. And your dad says, you know, okay, Clyde, Candy, one of y'all, whoever it is, quit. I got to get up early in the morning, quit making that noise. And it stopped.
Yeah.
So the next morning, after he left, your mama got up and she touched everything in that room, trying to make that sound. And finally, she come to this thing sitting on the chest of drawers, and it was a little statue of an angel. And she touched it, and when she touched it, it wasn't quite a level.
Yeah.
And it rocked back and forth on the top of the chest of drawers. It went.
Oh, wow.
And she said that's what the ghost was sitting there touching it, making it make that noise.
Yeah.
So your dad believed in the ghost at the house after that. He always made fun of it till then.
What if ghosts
But
were all the
they never
people?
spent the night there again.
What if ghosts were all the people who were dreaming while you were awake?
Yeah, that's scary. I'm somebody's ghost.
Yeah, I know. Wouldn't that be funny though? When you're having
I
a
hope
dream.
I am. I'd like, you know, I miss my grandchildren growing up, and I'm not going to get to tell them the stories of Goldilocks, you know, and vandalizing
That's
the
not
house.
true.
That's what really happened. She didn't go in there and get scared by the bears. You know, this one's too hot, this one's too cold, this one's just right. You know,
Yeah.
that's for little kids to hear.
Yeah.
Bigger kids need to know the truth. You know, she went in and vandalized the place and got arrested for it.
Yep. Listen, your
So-
stories are going to my kids. One of the reasons I'm putting them on my YouTube is in case I die. There's all kinds of stuff for them to listen to.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's here. I'm putting it on as, story time with Ray, or whatever. And I tell them this is my granddad. As they grow up, they know you. They watch the videos.
Good deal.
So, and they know that you taught me how to play guitar.
No, I just showed you where the strings was. You figured the rest of it out for yourself.
I got it here.
I can't play nowhere near what you play, and I missed the Spider and the Flash sessions we had because they were just. I could sit back and listen to them all day long.
Yeah, me too.
You just played such excellent, beautiful stuff, and all I did was set up a rhythm and a chord progression, and you just took off and went nuts with it.
For the people at home, it was just videos of you playing rhythm and me playing lead over it, and I looked like a fly buzzing around, right? Is that? Or you?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the
Your
neck.
fingers looked like a fly going all over the place, and I was the spider because I just called and moved my fingers just a little bit, like a spider trying to sneak up on the fly.
And we did all
And
kinds of weird video effects.
Yeah.
Remember the colors and but one time
ghost?
we caught a ghost on there one time because we were doing a sage stick outside playing.
Yep.
Remember that one?
Yep.
All
I
right.
just don't know what happened to them.
They're on a disc somewhere.
I don't have any of them. I gave them all to you, I thought.
Well, maybe they're in a pile somewhere. Here, I'll look through it.
I gave you a flash, too, one time. A little flash stick that had them on there.
Well, I don't know where that is. I have to look for it.
If you could ever find it, man, there was almost every one of them on there.
Well, maybe I will. If I did, I might have even put it online somewhere in my email.
Yeah.
I'd have to check it out. Hey, check if you recognize this song. The. I finally learned it. The Fire and Rain song.
Oh.
Just yesterday
I've seen fire and I've seen rain.
Know you were gone.
Yeah.
Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you. It was hard to figure out.
Sit down and I wrote this song, but I just don't know who to send it to.
Yeah, he plays so weird, you know. James Taylor's a real legend.
Yeah, but it's his songs made more sense than a lot of them.
Yeah.
Because it was it told a story.
Yeah.
And a lot of them just, you know, I went to the store and there wasn't nobody there, so I sat there and I talked and I throwed rocks at the police, and you know, they don't say much.
Yeah.
Like that guy said, like that guy on TV talking that joke one time. He asked his friend, he said, "You want to watch? Cops?" And he said, "Yeah." So we went out on the front porch, and it was a rerun.
Oh my God.
That's the kind of neighborhood some people live in, you know.
Do you remember the Iranian guy across the street?
Yeah.
What was his?
Reza.
Yeah, Reza. I've been trying to think of what his name was. I couldn't remember.
And his wife's name was Mercedes. She was a Latino.
Yeah, then next door
He's the one that gave me Sue Lee.
The dog?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Sue Lee is the one that had Pancho as a puppy. And the one that I went and got.
And then next door was Doña Josefina.
Doña Josefina, yeah, she lived next door to Reza.
She gave us hot chocolate.
Yeah, with cornmeal in it.
Yeah, it was so totally weird for me.
She made it from milk and chocolate sticks and vanilla beans and
you know what was super
cornmeal.
Cool? Her and Nanny Susie, could talk to each other and have a conversation, but neither of them spoke the language of each other.
And they go shopping.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't know. Susie told me, she said, "I don't know, Ray. It's just I know what she's talking about when she's talking." And she asked me one time about how to say a word about the way her son's girlfriend was treating him. She was married and living with him, and then she'd go live with her husband a while and come back to him and everything else. And she was real hard to get along with and didn't like Josefina. So I said, "Well, she's a bitch." And Josefina took that word.
Oh, no.
And she would come over and she'd start talking to Susie, and she would name that lady's name, and Susie would say, "Really?" She said, "Yeah." Then she would use that word. You know, and she knew then who she was talking about. That was the only word in English she knew besides yes.
Wow.
But I miss that old lady. She was something else.
Yeah, she was. I guess she went back to Mexico?
Yeah, she went back to Veracruz.
Okay. I hope everything worked out for their family.
Well, I don't know. Her son's still around somewhere.
You said Arturo, right?
No, that's not Arturo. Arturo lives up the hill. He's the one that's got his family up there, and there was Arturo Jr.
Oh, yeah.
I watched Arturo Jr. grow from a baby in a carriage.
In a wheelchair,
you know, to a young guy, you know.
Yeah.
His daughter worked at State Farm.
That's a good job.
Insurance over there behind McDonald's.
Yeah.
Somewhere over there. Anyway, yeah.
Unfortunately, the audio cut off after this segment, but I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed having my grandfather on. And if you made it this far, thank you for listening.